The FISU World University Games take place from the 28th of this month to the 8th of August in Chengdu, China. In the previous edition of the competition held in 2019 in Napoli before the COVID-19 outbreak, the South African women's student sevens rugby team finished the competition in fourth place. Bulls, Daisies and Springbok women player Libby, Janse from Rensburg, who captained the ladies to a fourth place finish in 2019, joins us now to look ahead to the games, and she chats to us in her capacity as DAC's Women's Rugby Coordinator. Libby, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to chat to you guys.
Another opportunity to go and play in the FISU Games. Just tell us about how important is it, particularly for student games, to participate in such games?
You know, I don't think that people often realize the importance of an event like this. I mean, this is such a great stepping stone for an athlete to achieving their ultimate goal of maybe becoming a professional athlete one day, or whether it is becoming an Olympian. I mean, these games is really, it's like a baby building block to getting you to that Olympic level or maybe a Springbok level.
And with that, I mean, the experience that you got in the previous games, even though we had those issues with COVID-19, you know, what's your expectation in Chengdu in China?
Look, we know that the University of Pretoria is known for producing some of the world's most competitive and most successful athletes. And this morning when we had our send-off function with these athletes, I just saw again amongst there some great names, some already Commonwealth game medalists that are going to compete at these games. So I think the future is looking so bright for our young athletes, and if they can just continue doing what they're doing, the future is really looking great for them.
And just looking at that, I mean, speaking of the future, do you believe that we are producing enough women players, the next Springboks, in this sort of games, especially, I mean, from your vantage point as somebody who works closely at DACS with, you know, the rugby team?
Look, in the last couple of years, you can definitely see there's been a steady increase in the participation, the interest, and also the backing that we've been getting from the public, parents being more willing to let their daughters play rugby. So just looking at that, you can see now with the Bulls Daisies going professional as well, there is definitely a significant growth in women's rugby. And I think at the Bulls Union, if I'm not mistaken, there was a 35% increase in women's players this year alone, which just shows you at what an exceptional rate the sport is growing. And if the other unions can also climb onto this boat, the other universities maybe get their teams up to standard as well, we can improve the varsity cup level, we can improve the level of varsity sevens for our ladies, USAs, all of those foundation tournaments that our ladies should be playing in before they get to a provincial or a national level. We'll definitely look at having some bright futures, bright stars in the next coming future.
And I guess it's something that personally you have experienced, having played in a World Cup, that you know, those steps that you need to take are very important based on your experience in New Zealand in the World Cup.
No, absolutely. I mean, all of these little tournaments that you play leading up to something great like a World Cup, it's preparing you for that. It's laying a foundation. You're getting used to playing in front of a big crowd, in front of a stadium. I mean, so many girls in South Africa have never played rugby in a stadium, so they don't even know what that feels like, let alone a stadium with spectators, with photographers, where there's a competition going. So the student games is really, it's a great platform for any athlete in any sport. And it's definitely something that shouldn't be taken for granted. And whether you're representing South Africa as a national, as a senior athlete, or at student level, it's still a massive honor.
You know, you spoke about the support that you get either from the institutions themselves of corporate South Africa, but what are some of the challenges that you think women's rugby faces in South Africa?
I think there's still a big lack of funding for our sport. Although it has been moved up to a priority list for SARU as well. You can see the Bulls Union buying into the thought of investing in the women's game. I think the rest of the country still lacks a little bit in this. And also, if we look at our development structures, the way we bring young girls back in, unfortunately, we don't have enough capable women in sports to put back into the communities, back into coaching yet, to get those ladies coached in a proper way, coached by ladies who've experienced firsthand what women's rugby is about. But I think as soon as we get to a phase where our group of Springbok ladies now sort of retires and they start giving back to the community in roles like coaching or admin at their unions, at their clubs, I think that's when we're really going to see a massive, massive improvement in the quality of women's rugby that we're producing in the country.
I hope you're not thinking of retirement yet, Libby.
No. I'm still far off from retirement myself.
Yeah, let's briefly talk about that. I mean, your career, having the experience that you had, as I said, playing in the World Cup, a fantastic test that you had in Spain. I know we're halfway through the 2023, but how would you sum it up for and looking ahead to the rest of the year from your perspective as a player?
Look, I think this year already, our national team has grown tremendously. Coming out of the World Cup, we had a little bit of downtime, came into a new World Cup cycle now with a new coach. I think we've laid a great foundation in this year already. And as we look at preparing for the new World 15s competition taking place in Cape Town in October, I think it's something that is so great for women's rugby, especially women's rugby in our country, for us to get the opportunity to host a tournament that's this big at home is something that I hope will expose women's rugby more to people in South Africa. And I definitely think our team is in a really good place. We've put building blocks in place. We've set small goals for ourselves. And hopefully we can just baby steps, and then eventually aim for the next World Cup.
I know for a fact you've said this many times that you still get goosebumps and butterflies when you score a try or at least a convert. What's that feel like for you, donning that jersey and just, continue contributing to a team sport like rugby?
Every time you get to put that green and gold jersey on, you have to remember that it's not a permanent thing. It's a gift that you have for that one day you get to don that jersey. In my case, the number 10 jersey, I get to wear it. I get to represent fly-half capacity of South Africa. And with every game, you just hope to leave the jersey in a better place than when you got it. And I think that's a very big thing that all of our ladies in our team strive for, is that we really just want to leave a legacy and leave each one of our individual jerseys in a better place for the ladies coming up in the future.
Libby, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for taking time to speak to us. Appreciate it. That's Libby van Janse van Rensburg talking to us there about the FISU Games, and she plays for the Bulls, but also in management at the Tex Rugby Sport. Also looking at the fact that the Bulls Daisies players, some of them will be participating in the FISU Games.